Hi. Hey, we're the Beauvays.
I'm Ellie. I'm Sam.
Well, here we are at the Muhammad Ali training camp, and we are here with a very special person who knows an awful lot about this camp. His name is Robert McSurd. So this is the spot where Ali always parked.
He would park here. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
So you never parked here?
No. Nobody parked down here. You could park up there. And that.
This was his.
Yeah. And this was the house that the family would live in. Ali, his wife, the kids. And the kids would always be playing out here.
In this house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we go in?
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. So were these rocks painted with the names on?
Yeah.
While he trained here. So it gave him
This
his
is
goal.
Bernie Pollock, was the guy who helped Ali get this land here for the camp.
Wow.
Yeah. He has Pollock's mink farm in Deer Lake.
Okay.
That's where Ali used to train. Yeah, that's when the camp opened up.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was training over there first, and they bought this land, and then Bernie Pollock and Ali got this land, and then Harvey Moyer helped build the camp.
Wow.
Harvey Moyer was a friend of my dad's.
Wow.
So we're going into the actual cabin where Muhammad Ali's family stayed during his training.
Saying that Marietta Andrewski lived up here above the camp.
Okay.
And when you lived above the camp, the only way you can get to the store is you have to drive down the road or drive through the camp.
Okay.
And when Ali was done training, they closed the camp.
Papa, there's a real dog.
Yeah, look at that.
Maybe something's in there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And so one day, God gave her a vision. So she had a vision that this camp should be used for unwed mothers and children. That was God's vision put in her heart. So one day she was coming down, and she came down here, and the caretaker was here. And almost sort of like Mick was here today for you.
Yeah.
And the caretaker said, Muhammad Ali's in there. So she came in. He was sitting in the chair. I think it was over on this side. So he was sitting in the chair, and she walked up to him. She said, Mohammed, I'm Marietta, and Dresky. I live above the camp here. And God gave me a vision that one day this camp should be used for troubled teens, unwed mothers, abused children, neglected children. And so he was just sitting in a chair, and he looked up and he said, "Well, Marietta," he said, "I'm sorry to tell you this." He said, "But tomorrow, we're going to open this camp for the United States Olympic boxing team." And he said, "There's going to be press here from all over the world. They're having a press conference, and this will be the training center for the U.S. boxing team." And so there she had a vision from God, and it sort of died right before her eyes. But from Scripture that Scripture teaches the depth of the vision. Like Joseph had a vision, and it died. He ends up in prison, But then when it's restored, when it's put back together, then you know that God did it. So the next day she came down again, and she didn't see any activity here. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day, the next week, 3 weeks went by. She didn't see any activity. And she came down the road, and right there was the caretaker. And he said to her, "Muhammad Ali's in there." So she got out of the car, walked in, he was sitting in the same chair. She walked up to him, and he looked up to her and said, "Marietta, I've been thinking about what you said." He said, "I'm going to give this camp to you for $1 a year. $1 a year." And he gave her the camp.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how it became the Thy Kingdom Come Children's Home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It is amazing.
And, we had children were born here, brought up here. That was our office was there in that first cabin was the office. And then the girls lived in the other cabins. They lived in here in this as well. Yeah.
And you're on the board.
And I was on the board, yeah. Yeah. We had the whole place to ourselves.
Incredible.
It was amazing. I couldn't believe it.
What year was that, Pop?
That was in, I think it was in the fall of '86.
Wow. Praise God. That's amazing.
He was very generous to us. He paid our taxes for us. Paid all the taxes. One time he even offered us his airplane. He said, "You can have it." He said, "If you can sell it and get the money for it, you can have it." And unfortunately, the market at that time made it very difficult to sell an airplane. So we never actually got to sell the airplane, but he offered it.
Wow.
He gave it, yeah. That was the first.
Sonny Liston.
Yeah, right there. Sonny Liston. There's the first championship he won. Sonny Liston was the champ. Drew Benini Brown. He was the one who came up with the slogan, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." And Angelo Dundee was his trainer. And I saw Ali spar with Jimmy Ellis in here.
Wow.
And they had once fought like for the heavyweight championship. Gene Kilroy was the business manager. He's the one who brought Ali to Schuylkill County.
Wow.
We actually bought t-shirts out of the back of her car. Remember
That's
that?
amazing.
Out of the trunk.
You used to do your laundry with Drew Bandini Brown's wife.
Yeah, down in Schuylkill Haven.
That's amazing.
closer to the wall. There are 2 rows of chairs here, and then the ring. And the speed bag was here, and the heavy bag was there.
The speed bag was right here where we're standing, and the heavy bag was in that corner.
And then over there on that wall was a painting of Ali by Leroy Neiman. He's a famous sports artist, and he covered the whole wall.
He would talk to you? Wow, what would he say?
He tells stories and stuff.
So you could see how it was closer to the wall, and that was the speed bag right there.
Yeah, right in here.
Hey, doesn't this picture bring back memories right here? Yeah. You can see that tree is mostly chopped. It's about to say timber.
Right there.
Yeah. So you used to go in the woods when he was chopping wood.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. In fact, that's where I first saw him. He was out in the woods. Him and Angela Dundee and Dream and Davy Brown. They're out in the woods chopping trees.
Chopping trees.
This might be around here. I'm not sure that. Although I see the trailer there, but I don't remember that trailer being there, unless they moved it up here when they were building it here.
The speed bag was just to the left of this window, right there. That's where Ollie was sticking his head through, that window. Same window, just different shape.
television? No television. I'll go in my kitchen to watch television.
What do you watch?
I watch the Johnny Carson show.
What covers do you prefer?
Me and Joe Frazier, I guarantee you.
Do you think he'll show up?
I think he'll show up.
He told me he's the only one who's got a big but that's your bell, I take it.
That bell rings every morning at 4:30. Every fight in those two courthouses must be down dressed by 5 rings on. The rings begin at 8 o'clock for breakfast and 5 o'clock for dinner. 10 o'clock everybody's in bed.
Don't the neighbors get sore?
No, they don't give me no trouble. Most of them here they don't go to church.
I used to sit here, and Muhammad Ali would sit here, and Mom would sit over there. And at one time he turned to her and said, "Why are you so quiet?" Because I'm sitting next to the heavyweight champion of the world. How about that?
Rules of my kitchen. Please keep out.
See, what he used to do is he would train. He would train there, and all the tourists would come to watch him train. And then he'd finish training, and he'd go to get changed and all of that. And then the tourists would leave, but they didn't know that after he changed, he would come back out, and he would say to the people who were there, he said, "Come on over to the kitchen." And we come over to the kitchen and sit around the table, and he tells stories, and I taught him a card trick right here. And, you know, he likes magic, you know, so I taught him a really good card trick, which I can hardly remember how to do. And one day I was sitting here, and the door opened, and in came Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes came in that door. Muhammad said, here's a future heavyweight champion of the world. Larry Holmes, yeah, he was big, he was tall, yeah. Larry Holmes was from Easton, and they called him the Easton Assassin, I think. And Joe Frazier was from Philadelphia, and they called him Smoking Joe Frazier. And then Muhammad Ali was from Deer Lake, so like within these few miles, the 3 heavyweight champions of the world lived and trained.
Handwritten recipes by Lana Shabazz.
When I first met Muhammad Ali, this was when I first saw him. See how young he is?
Yeah.
Very young. And this was at Pollock's Mink Farm over in Deer Lake. It's across the highway. And he used to train over there. In fact, he used to live in a trailer over there. And word got out that Muhammad Ali was living in a trailer. And so people would stop by to see him. And some kids went there, some teenagers, they knock on the door, he invites them in. they'd give him ice cream because he liked ice cream, which was one of his struggles in his training.
Oh,
But they
yeah.
liked ice cream. But here, when I went there, the first time I saw him, I pulled up to the trailer and I heard this chopping out in the woods. And here, see, he has it's hard to see in this picture, but he has an axe in his hand, and he was chopping down these trees. And he was out there in the woods with Angelo Dundee and True Bandini Brown. That was his, Angelo was his trainer, and then True Bandini Brown was the guy who came up with the saying, you know, floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. He's the one who invented that. So they were out there and he was cutting down the trees. Later on, after Frazier fight, he was still there. And I was at a press conference with him, and I used to have lots of pictures. I don't have the pictures anymore. But then Bernie Pollock, who owned the mink farm, helped him to get this property here. And so it was like 1973, he got this property with Bernie Pollock. And if you go over to that house over there, you can see he has, there's a sign, Muhammad to Bernie, 1973, on the big rock in there. But he helped him to get it. And Harvey Moyer from down towards Cooklehaven helped him to build it. Harvey Moyer was a friend of my dad's, and so they built this camp, and then he started training here. And then when he was training here, the ring is a little bit not in the right spot out there.
Yeah.
It was like closer to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to sit in his corner, just like that. So I took these pictures in his corner in his training.
Cool.
Yeah. And here's True Bandini Brown. It's right here. That's True Bandini Brown. And then when you sit in his corner, he'd tell you stories. So you just sit there and watch him train and listen to the stories when he'd come over to the corner to take their little break. And in fact, one time he told me, right out there, he said, I made $40 million so far. Now this was early. I made $40 million. He said, I have most of it in the bank.
Oh, yeah.
So, and here's another picture of him with, that's him, that's from the corner.
Oh, cool.
The speed bag was over here. It's not there anymore. Out next to this shed out here was a pole with a big bell, like a giant bell. We used to get the sparring partners up in the morning and do their road work. And then here's a picture of the children's home. And
That's nice.
that's the first child born at the children's home.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. And he says now kids are the greatest. And this is a picture of him holding the newest baby born at the children's home.
Oh, that's cute.
And here's a picture of me and Muhammad Ali.
Let me get that for the camera, Pop.
Alright.
I can't believe you look like that, Papa.
Yeah, I did. It was a few years ago. There's me back there too. And then this is just a story about how he returns to the mountain. He talks about giving the camp for $1 a year.
All your grandkids want to see the pictures again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to see the picture.
There you are. And this is a little, in the same room out there, where I used to sit in his corner and watch him train, because I knew where his corner was, you know, so I knew where to get my seat. So I would sit in there,
I'm upset.
and
This is also Papa.
so there's one day, see it says Muhammad Ali will attend dedication. So then he wrote, this was in May of 87. In May of 87, this was part of the dedication that I did. And there's where he writes a note to me. It says, to Reverend Rob from Muhammad Ali, service for God is the rent you pay for your room in the hereafter. That's very similar to what's written on his tombstone. If you look at his tombstone, it's very close to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So that's, you can look at that. And that's Muhammad Ali. And then one time he was sitting here, and he told us that the movie Rocky, was made. He had a fight in 1975 with Chuck Wepner, and Chuck Wepner was pretty much not the great fighter, but he gave him a chance.
Yeah.
And he was called the Bayonne Bleeder, I think his name was, because he bled a lot. He would lose. So Muhammad Ali gave him a chance. So in the 8th round, Chuck Wepner knocked him down. But Muhammad Ali said, he didn't knock me down. He stepped on my foot, and he fell down. And it turns out that the videos prove that that's actually what happened, that he stepped on his foot and he fell down. But out of that fight came the idea for the movie Rocky, and where you give nobody a chance of championship. And Muhammad Ali told us right here, right at this seat right here, he said, I would have played Apollo Creed in the movie Rocky. He said, but nobody asked me.
Oh, yeah, man.
But he would have
That
done
would be
that.
cool.
Could you imagine what that movie would have been like?
Oh, wow,
With
yeah.
Muhammad Ali playing Apollo Creed? You never saw a Rocky movie, no. But yeah. So we just came. This is the first time I've been here in, 3 years. 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Or more, 35.
We've been wanting to bring you here for a while, Pop.
Yeah. And my daughter, Jennifer, one day I was out in the room out there. And we got here late, there was a big crowd in there. My seat wasn't well, of course. And so we were standing there in the crowd, and Muhammad Ali is right out here, and he's jumping rope. And then my daughter, Jennifer, she must have been like 3 or 4 at the time. She went out next to Muhammad Ali, and he's jumping rope, and so she starts jumping up and down, pretending that she's jumping rope. But at that same time, Muhammad Ali, he stopped and he looked over and he looked right at me. And he said, I see we have a movie star here today. And I'm looking at him like this, and I go, what's he looking at me for? And then I turned like this, and there right next to me was Burt Young, who played Paulie, Adrian's brother. In the movie
Wow.
Rocky.
That's cool.
That was cool. Yeah, that was cool. And then, I was talking about seeing Burt Young right there in that room. He played in the movie Rocky.
Yeah.
He was Paulie, Adrian's brother. And then Elvis used to come and stay here.
Elvis did, really?
Yes. Yeah, Elvis stayed here. Yeah, he would stay.
That sings.
Yeah, he would stay like
One of
for a
my
week.
friends is named after
In fact, he ate at this table right here. Elvis did, yeah.
Wow.
And so one day, Muhammad Ali he used to come down this one back road over behind Orksburg. And on the back road was a place where they had sculptures. But there was this one which was like a crescent moon with a star, which has to do with like the Muslim religion.
Here he
And
is jumping around.
yep, there he is.
What is that?
Yep.
Let's see that one, Al. Jumping rope. Maybe Pop Pop's in this picture.
Oh, maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
I'm gonna
So, Gene Kilroy, who was the business manager, Gene Kilroy was responsible for Muhammad Ali coming to Schuylkill County. Gene Kilroy was from up in, I think, from Frackville. And so Muhammad Ali tells Gene Kilroy, go over to this lady's house and get that sculpture and bring it over here. And so Gene Kilroy said, okay. So he said to Elvis, he said, want to go for a ride? And so Elvis said, sure. And they drive over to this lady's house on the other side of Orangeburg. And he pulls in the driveway, and her house is like up here. And he pulls in the driveway, and Elvis waits down by the car, and Gene Kilroy goes up to the door and knocks on the door, and he's talking to her about this statue, and she's looking down like off of her porch, and there's Elvis Presley standing in her driveway. She was so excited, she couldn't. When her husband came home from work that night, all the lights in the house were on, and she's usually in bed. But she just couldn't believe what happened to her that day. That Elvis Presley was there in her driveway.
Oh,
That's a pretty funny story.
Oh, yeah.
It's true though. One night I spent a whole evening, about 6 hours, down here. There was a bar, it was named the Top Hat. It's right down there in 61, they changed its name. But I went in there and I said to, it was right after the Rumble in the Jungle, so the air fight. And so I stopped in the bar, and I said to Vera, who, they were the owners of the bar, I said, Vera, I said, is Muhammad Ali around? Because I thought they would know, leave the bar. And she says, I don't know, but his daddy's right over there, why don't you go ask him? And so I went over and introduced myself to him. He said, just call me Cash. He was Cassius Clay, was his name. Senior. Yeah. And he said, just call me Cash. And we just hung out for a whole night. It was quite a time, it's just like, I've seen a lot of different people over the years, but like once if you know Muhammad Ali in any way, it's just like, what's the use, Or you already know the greatest, Muhammad Ali, So everybody else paled to him, We're sort of spoiled it for other things, but he was such a great guy. He was such a kind and generous person. That's what he was. Kind and generous. I mean, they give us this for $1.
Oh, yeah.
I used to walk around thinking, I can't believe we have this place.
Yeah, for $1.
For $1.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How long was it at Shutter's house?
I was trying to remember that. Maybe like 3 years or so. I can't remember because these cabins were very expensive. They were electric heat back in those days. And so there was a lot of upkeep to the place, which of course, like a non-profit children's home would be hard to pull that off, Yeah. Now in the story it says that we used the mosque, the white building was a mosque. It was this mosque.
Yeah.
They said we used it for the chapel. Well, we never did. Even though it's written in there that we did. But years ago, Muhammad Ali had George Tillman come. Are you familiar with that name, George Tillman?
A little bit.
Yeah, he's a karate guy.
Oh.
He has karate studios. And he was one of the highest degree black belts in the world, And so he would come and train with Ali, because Ali wanted to have a secret punch, that he could knock people out. Sort of a punch not unlike the punch that he was thrown in Lewiston, Maine, on the second time when he knocked Liston out. You know, I don't know about that, but he wanted Tillman to train with him, so he did that. And Tillman was always around, would always train with him, do road work with him, you know, do ring work with him, and when it came time to retire, he offered George Tillman to buy the camp for $100,000 for the whole camp. Now Tillman didn't have the money at the time to do it, so he didn't do that. And then years went by, and George Tillman contacted Muhammad Ali through his lawyer, and he said, tell Muhammad Ali I'm interested in buying the camp for $100,000. Now the price of it is, went way up since that,
Yeah.
And Muhammad Ali said this, he said, tell George Tillman, I'm a man of my word. And he gave it to him for $100,000.
Oh, wow.
For $100,000. And he ran, he had, he did the Butterfly and Bee bed and breakfast he did here. And then he had his karate seminars here in the gym there. But yeah, he gave it to him for $100,000. Yeah. Now Tillman didn't sell it for $100,000. No, that would be a different figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, tell George Tillman I'm a man of my word. $100,000 he gave him the camp for.
Wow, cool. Was that after the children's home was done, you think?
Yeah, after that, yeah.
So once again, there you have it, folks. If you come to Fighter's Heaven and you want to know where Ali sat, it was right there in that chair.
Right here.
You didn't want to sit in his seat when you came to the dinner. But you were saying Elvis sat here at this table as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you come in here, you'll know that you can sit down and hang out where Elvis and Muhammad Ali sat. And there he is, look, sitting in his favorite seat in this picture, eating steak. Right there, look at that angle. That's exactly right. That's right where he sat.
Yeah.
And you see it right in this photo.